Good afternoon, a big welcome to Word at Noon. My name is Remy Allen. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has reversed its suspension of former Governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, and former Senate President, Pius Ayim. Other party chieftains whose suspension were reversed also are Ibrahim Shema, Dennis Itavia, and Aslam Aliyu. The PDP National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologunagba, in a statement also said the party's National Working Committee reversed the referral of the Governor of Benue State, Samuel Otom, to the National Disciplinary Committee. The PDP, a week ago, suspended the party's stalwarts over anti-party activities, even as the party continues to grapple with a myriad of internal issues that led to the suspension and consequent replacement of Iyorchia Ayu with Uman Damagum as the national chairman. However, the party's spokesman, Olugbenga, in a statement on Thursday, said the PDP National Working Committee met and extensively discussed recent developments in the party, adding that the NWC recognized the imperativeness of a total reconciliation among party leaders and critical stakeholders for a more cohesive party in the overall interest of members and Nigerians in general. Justice Obiora Egwatu of the Federal High Court, Abuja, has dismissed a suit by the leader of the Islamic Movement of Nigeria, Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zazaki, and his wife, Zina, in which they sought to compel the National Immigration Service, NIS, to issue them international passports. Delivering judgment, Justice Egwatu held that the applicants did not provide sufficient evidence to show that their passports were either seized, destroyed, lost, or the relevant agency was unwilling to reissue them another one. Justice Egwatu held that from the position of the applicants, it was not shown that it was the Immigration Service who took their passports, but rather that the passports were destroyed or lost in 2015 when their residence was attacked by security operatives, and subsequently dismissed the suit. El-Zakzaki and wife had in January 2022 filed the Fundamental Rights Reserved Enforcement suit against the Immigration Service and its Controller General for alleged refusal to issue new international passports to them. Donald Trump has become the first former United States president to face criminal persecution, but the charges have not been made public. Charges in New York comes after a year-long investigation into a payment made by Trump's personal lawyer to porn star Stormy Daniels ahead of the 2016 presidential election. Trump, who is seeking the White House again in 2024, calls the indictment political persecution. Audrey Sawyer reports.
Adult film star Stormy Daniels and her alleged sexual encounter with Donald Trump is at the center of the criminal case against the former president after she threatened to go public about the affair in the final days of Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. Trump's then fixer Michael Cohen paid her $130,000 to keep quiet. Cohen, who testified before the grand jury, has said he made the payments at Trump's direction and in 2018 pleaded guilty to violating campaign finance laws, for which he served time in prison.
It's not revenge, right? What this is about accountability. I don't want to see anyone, including Donald Trump, indicted, prosecuted, convicted, incarcerated, simply because I fundamentally disagree with them. This is all about accountability. He needs to be held accountable for his dirty deeds.
The former president has always denied the affair. He also initially denied any knowledge of the payment, but now says it took place as a legitimate legal expense.
Did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels?
Under New York law, it is a falsification of business records, not the payment itself. That would be Trump's crime, a misdemeanor. And only if prosecutors can prove he made the payment and falsified records specifically to hide the affairs from voters or the IRS. Would it be a felony or more serious crime that could come with jail time?
The falsification of records for the purpose of committing tax evasion would be the additional specific crime to elevate falsification of business records from a misdemeanor to a felony. So he needs something like that.
Complicating any prosecution, Cohen's former legal advisor, a Trump ally, told the grand jury Cohen couldn't be trusted.
Listen, if they want to go after Donald Trump and they have solid evidence, so be it. But Michael Cohen is far from solid evidence.
President Trump has described this case as a witch hunt, but it is far from the only criminal investigation he is facing. In Georgia, prosecutors are looking into his alleged attempts to overturn Joe Biden's victory in the state in 2020, and several government bodies are investigating his alleged role in the attack on the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. The case marks the first time in history that a U.S. president has faced criminal charges. Odunayo Sawyer, Osrc News.
The United States has condemned Russia's detention of Wall Street Journal reporter Evans Gaskochki. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says the espionage changes are ridiculous and the targeting of American citizens by Russian government is unacceptable.
Last night, senior White House officials spoke directly with Mr. Gershkovich's employer, the Wall Street Journal. The State Department has also been in touch with the Wall Street Journal and his family on this matter. This espionage charges are ridiculous. The targeting of American citizens by Russian government is unacceptable. We condemn the detention of Mr. Gershkovich in the strongest terms. We also condemn the Russian government's continued targeting and repression of journalists.
As the first British monarch to address the German parliament. His speech in both English and German was met with a standing ovation. The king's visit is the first overseas trip as monarch. King Charles had earlier held talks with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz.
The unprovoked invasion of Ukraine has inflicted the most unimaginable suffering on so many innocent people. Countless lives have been destroyed. Freedom and human dignity have been trampled in the most brutal way.
It shows that there can be life with Germany after Brexit. Of course, it's also Prince Charles's debut, and I think everybody who watched the speech will have been impressed by how incredibly accomplished. We've just seen his speaking German there. It was a mixture of German and English that he spoke, and it was a mixture of solemn message. We saw what he had to say. The Beatles, and how it was quite healthy for English people to laugh at the Germans and for the Germans to laugh back at us. And I think what's particularly interesting is what's coming up tomorrow, when, as we've already heard, he will be laying a wreath in Hamburg in memory of the victims of English-British bombing during the war. Now, that's something the Queen never did. She made 15 visits to Germany, 5 of them state visits. She was pressurized, we know, by the British government to make that gesture. She wouldn't do it, but Prince Charles is going to do it, we understand, tomorrow.
From the sporting arena, in the latest financial rankings of national teams released by Transfer Market, Super Eagles witnessed a massive rise in squad market value. The rise in the squad market value saw the 3-time African champions move up 2 steps and now ranked the 13th most valuable international team globally, while also cementing its position in Africa as the most valuable team on the continent. The Eagles boost players who ply their trade in Europe's lucrative leagues, making them one of the world's most valuable teams with a total value of €330.50 million. In February, They were placed 15th with a market value of 301 million euros. And that sports story concludes World at Noon. Thanks so much for watching. Good afternoon.